Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm John Cena Sr.
Johnny, the fans just haven't asked for it, they have demanded it.
This August, we're headed back to Tampa for Wrestle House 2.
WrestleMania weekend, we brought you Sinister Minister James Mitchell, TJP, Demolition Smash, Al Snow, Dutch Mantel Zeb Coulter, JTG of Primetime, and WWE Hall of Famer Gerald Briscoe for in-depth interviews and live interactive cyber autograph signings.
And if you want our Wednesday Night Wrestling Insider Special edition episodes to continue, we need your help to bring these superstars' careers and lives to life.
Bringing you free content 7 days each week is an expensive proposition. Between appearance fees, air travel, renting the house, the equipment, and everything that goes in to a week of shooting, we can't do it without you.
As we prepare to return to producing live in-ring events, help us bring you the superstars and legends of yesterday and tomorrow by visiting Indiegogo now and check out some of the great rewards.
Wrestling fans, it's going to be a wild week in Tampa the first week in August. Get ready for Wrestle House 2. A good friend out in Utah, Victor Langhauser, wanted to know, Tony, he saw a YouTube video recently where B. Brian Blair had a lot to say about a violent fight you had with actually one of the favorite wrestlers of our technical director, Cecil the Lion. A brawl you had with Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
Right.
He said Paul Orndorff really took you to task and hospitalized you. Your memories on this fight were, I believe, Tommy Rich was the driver.
Right.
You were in the passenger seat, and Paul and Brian Blair were in the back. You
Right.
take it from there.
Well, Paul and Brian, they came to the match with another group of guys. And me and Tommy, on our way to the match, we bought some barbecue and went to got ourselves some barbecue. So I got a whole slab of rib. I ate half a slab. I didn't want to eat too much because, in the ring, you lose your lunch. So I put it in the back seat. So Tommy came and said, it's okay if Paul and Brian ride with us, or they ride left them. So I said, yeah, that'd be okay. So we go down the road, Paul in the back fussing about something. I wasn't paying too much attention. He said, what the hell is that smell? And I go, they're my ribs. He said, I don't like them. They stink. I'm going to throw them out. I said, brother, jokingly, I said, if you throw my ribs out, I'm going to throw you out with them. Well, you think you could do that? You could think you did that? So one thing led to another. He told Tommy to pull over. So Tommy pulled over. Excuse me. Tommy pulled over. As I was getting out the car, Paul went to sucker punch me. Well, I ducked him, leg dive him, took him down and crater him. Now crater is an amateur move where you hook one leg, bring it up to his chin, take this other arm, bring it around his back, and you lock on. So he got this leg up to his chin, and then you take the other leg and you wrap it up and you hold him. You can't move. It's a crater.
You stretched him.
Yeah, I was stretching
on the side of the highway.
Right, on the side of the highway. So then Tommy broke us up. And I'm riding down the street, and Tommy looked over. He said, Tony, you bleeding. I said, oh, what? So I pulled down the visor, I looked, and this little bit of earlobe was hanging. So I turned to Paul and said, what the hell you bite me for? He said, well, you took me down so fast. He said, I didn't know what you're going to do to me. He said, I couldn't do nothing else but bite. Then Tommy said, well, you don't want to go around your whole life with your earlobe hanging. He said, let's go get that stitched up. So we pulled in the hospital. The doctor stitched it up. I got ready to leave. The doctor said, you can't leave. I said, why not? He said, well, because a human bite is the worst bite that you could ever get. He said, we have to give you a testicle shot. And you have to stay overnight. A testicle
shot?
With a shot.
Oh.
That they give you for like infection. Like you get bitten.
Like if you get rabies.
Right.
Tetanus shot.
Tetanus shot.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them shots. And he said, we had to keep you overnight. So I said, okay. So then I stayed overnight. I hear a lot of people saying he put me in the hospital. All he did was bet me. That was the whole fight. I leg dived him. I cratered him. He bit me. Magdal Vachon said, a story is not worth telling without embellishing. Now, I hear some clips on what Blair said. I got a lot of respect for Brand, but Blair is over-exaggerating the story a lot. If I really wanted to, and that ain't taking nothing away from Paul, I could have hurt that boy that night. I could have really,
You could have done some damage
I
to
could have
Paul.
done some damage. I took Paul down so easy. Paul knew nothing about wrestling. Nothing. Not zero. He never wrestled a day in his life. He didn't know how to get out of a crater. It's an amateur move. You use it in high school.
When you had him in that move, was he able to
He
get out
turned
of
his
it?
head and he bit. No, all he could do was bite.
And at what point did you let go of the hold?
When Tommy Rich and Blair broke us up.
Yeah. Were you afraid that Orndorff might try and
No,
retaliate?
I
or you
wasn't
thought
worried
it was
about
done?
Brother, I wasn't worried about Orndorff. The only man in wrestling that I was really worried about fighting with was probably Harley Race, Andre the Giant, Seeker of the Wild Samoan, Peter Maville. They didn't want to mess with Peter.
What about Haku? He's kind of a legendary
Haku wasn't there
tough
then.
guy. Oh, okay.
He wasn't in the business then. See, this was back in the 70s,
70s.
early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. Haku wasn't in the they came along later. See, you move all up now. This was that late 70s, early 80s when Paul Orndorff just started off. This before he became Killer Bees. He was
Brian
in
Blair, you're talking
Georgia.
about.
That's right.
Okay.
It was in Georgia, then Georgia Championship Wrestling. Then before Paul went to WWF. This all for Georgia Championship. And we were going from Columbus, Ohio to Dayton, Ohio. We stayed over in Dayton. But it was really no fight. It wasn't a fight.
Well, I have a
He
lot
never
of...
hit me. Paul did one thing to me. One thing. He bit me. That was it.
But like you said, the story has been embellished.
People like to exaggerate stories.
Why do you think Brian Blair embellished it so much? He made it sound like Orndorff really took you to task and hurt you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's something you got to ask him.
All right. Well, Paul Orndorff is someone certainly I want to do a complete episode when we do our Hall of Fame name games.
But I listen to Paul talk about it too. Paul act like he won. He beat me up too. He talks the same way. I see some tapes on here. Yeah. He don't tell the detail, but he said, well, me and Tony, we got into it. We was always friends, and Tony ended up in the hospital, so I guess you know the rest of that story.
Well, he was very proud of himself for inventing certain words, too, but that's a different story for a different time. Brian Blair, he's not a WWE Hall of Famer. We may never have a chance to talk about him again. Any Brian Blair memories? You traveled with him a little bit.
Thank you for joining us. Please give the video a big thumbs up, leave us a comment, and subscribe to the channel to enjoy more great content. Don't forget, you can help keep wrestling legends working. Check out our eBay store and join the Boston Wrestling family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling so we can produce more in-depth shoot interviews.